But look at my necklace. Ooh, House of Dragon, episode 104. A bunch of guys coming in. They're trying to find a husband for the blonde girl. Oh no, first an old guy, really old enough for her mother, the queen, who died in childbirth. And now this boy. And then somebody was like making fun of him, and then he kills the guy as the queen walks away. I mean, the princess, the blonde girl. Rawr, look at me. I don't know what to do with myself. Aww. You're so lucky to have men falling all over you, madam dear. I am the king. This must be the brother of the king. And he comes back and he bows down and tries to give the king respect and his crown and everything. He's like, things are different now. So the king accepts, and he does that in front of everybody. It's almost like, imagine virtual reality. Imagine like the internet, like how it is with like people coming in and spectating in a way, like a live stream, so to speak. It's like back in the day, people would do that in real life. As you see, it's like, oh, what's gonna happen? It's like what's happening on TV. Like, for example, it's like back in the day, TV was very interactive, like a live stream, like a video game, except you know, like the metaverse, like the Matrix, except it was in real life. I know I'm very smart about something. Me and my brother, yeah, we have a good time. Yes, the mother always liked him more than me. Always liked the younger guy more than me. And I'm the king. Why didn't she like me? Wow. Oh, young queen girl, redhead girl. Maybe you could be in The Little Mermaid. You got red hair. No, we gotta have a black person. Alright. Anyways, I totally miss you so much. Oh, I miss you too, princess. Oh, I miss you more, queen girl. It is so hard. Is it hard, princess blonde girl, to have all the men gravel before your feet? Yeah, it is. It's like they only want my crown. They only want my kingdom. They don't really like me. Oh, there are worse things to be a slave to. Oh no. I didn't mean to. Wait a minute. Kinda like you and the old guy, my father, you like you gotta make a baby with my father? Ew. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. Oh no, they better put all the food in the refrigerator. Don't worry, Uncle. I won't subject myself to the same fate. Spoiler alerts. Ooh, it's a little dragon. So she's like, oh, I'm gonna go through a trap door and take a little secret passageway. Kind of like what they did in Only Murders in the Building. Remember that show with Steve Martin Schwartz, Selena Gomez? They go into the building in New York City. It's like really old buildings have these like secret hallways. Really old buildings, really old houses. You sneak into the back room, the back hallways, the secret hallways and passageways. This girl does that and she sneaks out. She sneaks out of the keep, out of the castle. Fire! Beavis and Butthead, they love fire, especially Beavis. Fire! My king needs a bath. Gotta help him because I'm his wife. I am the princess, but people are calling me boy. It's kind of like I'm Jasmine from Aladdin and I sneak out of the palace. It's kind of like that. I'm sneaking out, and then I see like a puppet show, some kind of play, and they're making fun of me, and my father, the king, talking about it like, oh, girl can't be the king, and we gotta find a son. Somebody has to have a baby. It has to be a boy. And then she gets it on with her uncle in a whorehouse around a bunch of other people. It's interesting how the original show, Game of Thrones, had a lot of nudity, and it was mostly just normal, the normal kind, like a guy and a girl kind of thing, having sex. But with this, like they don't show you a lot. Every once in a while they do, but generally what they do is they show you very unusual items. For example, in this episode, one of the first things you see that's not really blurred out is like it's a girl with a dick. It's like, what is that? And then you see a little bit of like lesbianism and gay sex. And those are like the two or three things that you see before anything else, if anything else. And everything else you don't really see, maybe a little bit kind of in the background, but it's not focused. And so what they focus on is the kind of stuff that you really don't want to see, except for maybe some people might want to see. Anyways, they get it on a little bit, and then he runs off. The little boy notices, and he informs the king indirectly. She must have had a boner or something, so she goes back to the palace, back to the keep, back to the castle, and she gets it on with this guy, a soldier guy that she probably has a crush on. So it's almost like the Jon Snow moment that he had with the Queen of the Dragons in Game of Thrones. It's like they're trying to do that all over again. And it is only episode 4. And it's almost like they're trying to redo it. And it's like she is that queen from Game of Thrones, and they're trying to give you what they felt like they lost because Jon Snow had to kill her. And the uncle ends up waking up at this like place, like a hotel or something, and then there's the girl. I think it was his wife. He informs the king of a rumor that the princess was outside of the keep with her uncle. He's like, "How dare you, bring forth this kind of rumor, accusation? We gotta get the person who started the rumor and bring him or her before me." And he's like, "Oh, our source is totally anonymous, like QAnon or something crazy." It's like, "Oh, we gotta keep it protected, keep our sources protected." Hello, my friend. My friend, I'm only trying to help you. I'm not trying to throw false accusation at you. I'm just trying to help you, girl. Don't you like my sexy nose? I'm totally innocent. My uncle took me to a show and stuff, and then it was like, and then we went to a whorehouse, and all the stuff was happening, and I was a spectator, and then my uncle ran off with somebody, and I was all alone. You know? I don't know about that. I'm just trying to help you, Blondie. The king confronts his brother, the uncle, and says, "You gotta get out of here. I don't want to see you again. So do whatever you want, but you gotta go." Dun, dun. The queen's like, "Hey, my guy, king dude, I don't think your daughter did anything crazy with your brother, with her uncle." And the king's like, "The only thing that matters is perception." So the king is with his daughter, and he tells her a little bit of a secret about this sword, and how it's passed on from generation to generation, from one king to another king. And it's like, he's like, before I had this sword, this dagger, this other guy had it, and before him this other guy had it, and before him another guy had it, and before that, really hard to say, really hard to tell. I don't know. And she's like, I didn't do anything, with my uncle, I swear. And the king's like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can say whatever you want for, like, what the truth is, what you say the truth is, but the only thing that matters is perception. And we both have to pay the consequences for the perception that people have of us. That's the thing that really matters, is popular opinion and perception, point of view of the general public. That's what matters. Wow. The king says to this guy, I think this is the father of his wife, and also a trusted aide, a servant, probably a bishop or something. And the king says to this guy, I can't trust you anymore. You cannot work for me anymore. You're fired, said Trump. And then the old guy goes to the daughter, the princess, the blonde girl, Jasmine, and he gives her a tea that will wipe out the baby. Any unneeded mistakes will be purged from your body. And that's kind of how the episode ends for the most part. And it's a little bit interesting. These 4 episodes, I'm a little bit curious. It's not the same as the Game of Thrones as far as like a lot of things goes. Not even the acting. Like, it's not at the same level. It's like, it's just not as impactful. The acting is not as good. A lot of things is not as good. You can kind of notice that there's several different levels to it, like the characters, the different interactions, the special effects or lack thereof. A wide variety of things is lacking, generally speaking, when compared to its parent show, the original Game of Thrones. This House of Dragons show is just a shadow of the original, and it's just too bad. It's a shame, but it is what it is, and for the most part, it is a little bit interesting. Like, I'm watching it just because I'm just curious about what they're gonna do with like the characters and how they're gonna tell the story, and I'm just like pretty much invested. It's like this was one of my favorite shows, on top of some of the other shows they had in the 2010s, like Dexter and The Walking Dead. I was watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a bunch of different things, but it's like this was one of them, and this was like pretty important to me, Game of Thrones. And so it's like, now we got this, and so it's like, this is like a son of a former friend of mine, kind of thing. A friend of mine that like killed himself, kind of thing. Like, I don't know. It's like, could be anybody. Use your imagination. Web. It's like, could be anybody. But just use your imagination, kind of thing. And it's like, it's important to me, even though it's like I may not be happy with them, like Star Trek, like Star Wars, like the superheroes. But it is what it is. And so I'm watching just to see how bad it's gonna be, but I still care about them, so I'm watching it, and I'm just looking around, trying to see what are they gonna do, and some of it is kind of good. It's not the best compared to a lot of different shows and movies. It's not the best. It's not as good, but it still is something that is kind of telling a story, and the story may be broken. There may be a lot of plot holes, in a wide variety of things that, you know, is not good if you're a writer, if you're a director, kind of thing. Even the acting may not be that good. So it's like, it's not really good, but it still is interesting. And you still want to know what's going to happen. And Game of Thrones is still very iconic, especially the theme song. It kind of takes you back to the 1980s, 1990s, and even before that, like some of the greatest well known shows out there, movies, they have like one thing in common, and that would be they all have these little themes, these little songs that everybody knows. And it's like instantly recognizable. Game of Thrones has that. And House of Dragons is using that same song with a little bit different graphics to introduce the show, but it's still the same soundtrack, the same song. And it's iconic, and the show is iconic, and the universe is iconic. And so it's like you're kind of invested, and that's kind of what they're banking on. HBO is like, we hope these people continue to come. We can make money with people who are subscribing and all the advertisement. So we're going to make a little bit of money. And maybe they will, maybe they won't, depending on how many people end up liking it, which I don't know. But it's still not something I would totally recommend. I wouldn't recommend it totally because there's like no need to really. Because like they're not really telling a story that is important enough. I mean, I hope I don't regret saying that. I mean, it's like, of course, it may be a little bit interesting to see what kind of story they tell. I don't know. I didn't read the books. You know, I just don't know what happened like 100 years, 200 years before Game of Thrones. I kind of know bits and pieces, but that's about it. So I'm a little bit curious about what they say, how they tell the story, which stories they tell. And so I'm here. I'm here for the ride.